Hi, I'm Tom Brule, the Electric Services Manager for the City of St. Charles, Illinois. We serve 15,000 meters, approximately 13,000 of those are residential. Our system is approximately 80% underground. We have 590,000 feet of underground residential single-phase distribution, most of it rear lot. In the mid-2000s, our SAIDI reliability numbers went from approximately 38 minutes to over 108 minutes. Cable and equipment-related outages were responsible for as much as 42% of those customer outage minutes. The most numerous of our cable-related issues were single-phase residential cable faults. Our cable asset management plan was developed by our senior distribution engineer. His name is Steve Schroba. He developed a matrix that included previous fault history, subdivision age, the number of customers involved, restoration complexity if there were to be a fault, and the cable installation test results. Prior to Steve taking on this responsibility and coming up with this matrix, the city's management of cable faults was completely reactionary. We would experience 2 or 3 faults in a subdivision, then we'd hire a contractor, directional bore from transformer to transformer, and replace the cable in the entire subdivision. With this strategy, we were always at least 1, if not 2 years behind the cable faults, and a subdivision had to endure 2 outages before they were getting relief from a reliability standpoint. We found that the cost per foot to reinforce cable through injection is about 1/3 of that of traditional replacement, and that's allowed us to rejuvenate many more feet of cable per each budget year. The City of St. Charles partnered with Novinium in 2009, and we've been injecting cable in subdivisions ever since. Over that time, our estimates are that we've saved $4.3 million over what it would have cost to do traditional cable replacement, and at the same time getting the reliability results similar to replaced cable. The city's preference is to do a sustained process to maximize the number of spans that we can do a day using Cable Cure 732. For spans that are not viable with respect to sustained, we will use the unsustained process with the same fluid. The day starts with taking a span of cable out of service. At that point, the Novinium technician will perform the air test and the TDR to make sure that the span is an injection candidate. Our lineman takes the existing elbow off and puts on the injection adapter, and the Novinium technician will initiate injection of that cable span. Once the cable fluid comes in at the other end of the cable, we'll seal the port and do the craft work to put the elbow back together and put that span back in service. We typically shoot for 3 to 4 spans per day, depending on the length. To date, we've rejuvenated about 178,000 feet of cable, which is about 63% of the cable in the program. With respect to failure rates, from 2005 to 2013, the city was averaging about 7.3 cable faults per year. In 2014 and 15, each of those years we've only experienced 1 cable fault, both of which were in the target subdivisions. We just didn't get to them in time. The customer's experience from the spans that were injected, we believe is superior to those with traditional cable replacement. There's no landscape restoration, there's no disturbance in their yard. We're in and out in a couple of hours. We plan to stay ahead of the faults and continue on the program. We believe it's very possible to eliminate single-phase cable faults by proactive replacement or injection prior to subdivisions experiencing a problem. As an engineer, I value data to a high degree. If I was going to recommend something to my peers, I would say have some VLF testing done in suspect subdivisions. Use that to prioritize which areas you need to reinforce. And if you do have an injection candidate, I would certainly give that a try to experience the difference between traditional replacement and injection. And then, if you're like me, return to those test spans probably 12 to 18 months later and prove to yourself that the insulation was restored to new or like new condition.